Hello, hello. This is not going to be a super long training. It's not really a training. I want to talk to you about ways that a virtual assistant can help you in your business, because time and time again, that is what I hear the most of, is that people don't know what tasks to give to a virtual assistant. That they're like, I don't know what I mean, it sounds great. I know I need help, but once I got help, I don't know what I would actually give to a virtual assistant. So I'm live right now on Instagram, as well as all the other channels. For Instagram, I had to prop up my phone on a tripod, which is like there. So you're going to see me sort of going like this, trying to talk to everybody. Okay, first of all, if you really don't know what a virtual assistant is, because a lot of people don't. Someone asked me the other day, isn't that Lexi? We're not going to say her name, but the Amazon device, or isn't that Ciro? We're also not going to say her name because I don't want to wake her up. But a lot of people think it's an AI sort of thing, and I get maybe they're, I guess those are called virtual assistants as well. But what we're talking about is someone who helps you virtually, meaning they're just not in your physical space. They're not under the same roof as you are. They could be down the street, or they could be halfway around the world. Like my team, they're in the Philippines. And so obviously, I mean, people, ever since the dawn of online business, people have been doing this. But with the pandemic and everybody going digital who had no plans of being digital, suddenly this is really a hot topic, because who can't use a little help? And so this is what we're going to talk about. Very specifically, ways that your VA can help you in your business, so that you could start thinking about how a VA would fit into your business. And I want to talk about sort of like the obvious stuff that isn't always so obvious. And I also want to talk about the ways that a virtual assistant can actually create revenue for you in your business, like right away, like where you get a return on your investment as soon as your VA starts working with you. Okay. So the obvious things are, we'll put in the chat, like, what do you think some of the obvious things are? Some of the obvious ways, right away, you would deploy your virtual assistant. And I'm going to wait for that answer, because I have a feeling what most people are going to put down. I mean, obviously, general admin tasks, right? Like invoicing, writing proposals, chasing down missed payments, managing your inbox. A lot of people don't think about that one. It's the best thing I ever handed over to my VA, is handing over my inbox. This isn't your personal inbox. This is your business inbox. I wish I would have done it so much sooner. It's the best thing to come into my office, sign into my computer, and see like a very lean email box. Basically, the only thing that is in there are the things that I need to respond to. So there might be 2 or 3 emails in my inbox versus hundreds, thousands that used to be in there before. What about if you're doing Zoom videos with clients? Don't you have to send the replay afterwards to the participants? Sometimes you need to add a transcription to the replay. Sometimes you need to add timestamps or other resources that were mentioned when you were doing that training or you were having that meeting. So a virtual assistant can process all of your Zoom meetings. They can handle your calendar 1,000%. They will eventually be able to time block for you. So understanding that, like, if you do your podcast recording on Thursdays, then you only ever want to do 2, let's say max 3 podcast interviews in a day. They know that. They block your calendar and they put in buffer time for you. Hello to everybody who's joining us on Instagram. I'm sort of looking at the computer and looking at you, so bear with me here. How about, and you know what, I've got a link to a wonderful list. I'm going to put that up on the screen. So if you click on that link, it'll take you to, I printed it out. It's like 10 pages of hi Mitty. It's like 10 pages of tasks that you can give to your virtual assistant, stuff you might have never thought of. So how about this? This is one of my favorite things, is almost all of us at some point have to do a slide deck. We have to do a PowerPoint, right? one of my favorite things to do is because I don't love typing, but so talking is much easier for me. I do this with my podcast episodes as well if I need a script. So I will open up a Google document, and they have the talk to text feature. It's a tool in Google Docs that allows you to just dictate. So you just start talking, and it's gotten really good, really accurate, by the way. So you just start talking, and the Google document just starts typing everything that you're saying. Okay. So if I'm going to do a training, like right now, I could very easily do a training about, all the tasks that you could give to a virtual assistant. I would talk this out to Google Docs. Google Docs is going to type it all out. And then I would build that into a presentation by sending that to my virtual assistant, who would then turn it into a slide deck. How does the virtual assistant do that? Well, you could just put comments along the way, like add picture of a bowling ball, add a picture of a ball and chain, add, like whatever it is that you want to graphically represent what you're saying in your slide deck. And then she puts all the notes, in the cheater section, right? The presenter notes section. That saves loads of time. That saves 2 days worth of work, right? I mean, if you've ever done a presentation in a slide deck, you know that. So love giving my team that as a project to work on. Designing or writing copy for sales pages. That's a little more advanced, but absolutely there are VAs that are really great copywriters. And then the graphics parts of things, all of your social media posts. And that's what I was looking for in the comments. Let's see here. That's what I was looking for in the comments when I asked you, like, what's the number one thing you would give to a virtual assistant? 99% of the people I talk to, the first thing they say is their social media. You 1,000% can do this with confidence. You can hand over all your social media to your virtual assistant, and it doesn't have to look like cookie cutter. Like it can be, and again, like you have to have a good system behind it. But if you have a good system behind this, there's no reason why your VA can't take that off your plate. Editing videos, editing podcasts, doing all the production of your podcast. You can easily hand out your podcast stuff to an agency that specializes in that, or you could do it in-house. We do it in-house. I do hire someone actually to edit, just because I wouldn't have, it just makes sense. Like it's affordable, it makes sense. So I have someone editing it, but all the million other things that have to happen with that podcast episode, my team takes care of. Creating PDFs, workbooks. So let's go back to that Zoom training or the Zoom call that we're talking about. All the places where you show up and you open your mouth and you share your knowledge in whatever form, there's a way to capture that and turn that into an asset that really, oh, I'm so sorry, Mitty. We need to, Nika, are you on Instagram? Can you share the VA tab? Thank you. Nika's getting ready to share it right now, Mitty. Okay, so you're sharing all this knowledge that can be captured and turned into an asset for your business that can be used as a lead magnet, as something that you sell as an information product, right? But you don't have the time to do that. So, you have all intents and purposes, when you go and give that talk at the local YMCA, or so you're doing it live or you're doing it virtually, and that there's a million ways from Sunday that you can repurpose that and bring value, add value to your business with that. But there's no time for that. That takes forever. So you can then hand it, hi Tracy, hi Body Fit. You could take that training, just the transcript of it, and your VAs can create PDFs, workbooks, checklists, ebooks. Really the list is limitless. So it's just a way of thinking, like, how can I, and by the way, when you start doing all this stuff, suddenly at first you're like, I don't know what I would give to a VA. Trust me, a couple weeks in and you're just like, oh, and I can hand off this and I can hand off this and I can hand off this, because it is glorious to be able to get that stuff off your desk, doing that stuff that is really not what you're good at. And if you are good at it, it's really not what you should be spending your time on, because that is not what moves the needle in your business, right? So many people are wasting 80% of their workday doing tasks that they could easily outsource. Okay. What else? Research. We're going to actually, that's a perpetual revenue driving task. That's one of the ROI tasks I want to talk about. So we're going to put that on hold. Let me look at my cheat sheet here. Customer service, answering inquiries on your website, on your Facebook page, any social media, really, all the social media channels, except for LinkedIn, and even LinkedIn when it comes to your company page, right? Your team can interact legally, meaning, hi Meg, legally, I'm streaming here and I'm streaming here, and so I'm having to do like one of these numbers. But you can legally, meaning like it's not against their terms of service to have someone else or engage as your business avatar. So your LinkedIn company page, your virtual assistant can engage there as your company page. On your Facebook business page, your VA can engage on your behalf. And they're not pretending to be you. They are your company. They are the voice of your company. So when someone comes along, like someone just asked right now on the Instagram Live, like I need the, let's pretend we weren't live, and someone types in, I need the link to so-and-so, your VA can swoop in, answer that, and take care of it. The topic today, Meg, is all the things that you can outsource to a virtual assistant. Because one of the first things the biggest pushback I get when I tell people that they need to hire a virtual assistant is they don't know what they would give to a virtual assistant. So if you click the link in my bio, it'll take you to a long list, like 160 tasks. We're also going to talk about how you can get an ROI right from the beginning, not just outsourcing like the obvious admin tasks, but some other tasks that are going to create immediate revenue. Hi, Genevieve. Can they do blogs for us? Genevieve asked. Absolutely. I mean, if it could be done on a computer and it can be shared in a cloud, yes, a virtual assistant can do that for you. Absolutely. Now, it really, there's like a caveat to that question, because obviously, Meg, yes, Meg says good news for control freaks. Yes. If your blog is like you're really a writer and you're really you're all about that and you're sharing like your life and all of that, and that would be a little bit harder, like more of those diary blogs, that would be a little bit harder. But travel blogs and design blogs and all of that, people have virtual assistants writing their blog posts for them. You give guidance. And again, this comes back to you having a good system and good structure. It's not like they're starting from scratch here. There's places that there's work that you have to do to set that up. But once it's set up one time, it then becomes a system and you're good to go. What else? We talked about managing social media and your inbox, and scheduling all your calls. So you know how you talk to someone because you're hopefully talking to people all week long and you're networking and you're engaging. You get the hey, let's catch up next week. What's a good time for you? Well, Mondays are good for me. And you do the back and forth. And what about the afternoon? Honestly, that still happens to me every now and again. And I just can't stand it. Like everybody needs to have Acuity or Calendly, like PS, like we all need to have that now because it makes life so easier. It's that software that allows you to just make certain times available. And when you hand it over to someone, they see what's available and they can click, and there will never be hopefully not be a conflict with something that you had already scheduled. So Calendly and Acuity, get one of those. Okay. But even then, I don't want to be the one to send it. So I can just say, oh, that sounds great. My assistant will shoot you over sometimes. Bam, done. Assistant is doing all your scheduling, whatever it is that you schedule, meetings, podcasts, webinars, whatever. How about just monitoring your software subscriptions? Okay. Keeping an eye on when things are going to renew, things that don't need to renew, updating or organizing your Google Drive and your Dropbox. Hello, I know everybody has a hot mess back there, right? Like it's just, but you don't have time to organize it because things just keep coming and keep coming. A VA can organize it once for you. create the system for you, or you could create the system. I have great systems that I could share for organizing that stuff. And then once you start, your VA keeps that going. Your meeting minutes, preparing those, putting testimonials on your website, making sure you have testimonials on every page of your website, by the way, not just the page that says, kind words or, testimonials or whatever. You should have a testimonial on every single page of your website somewhere. SEO even. Yes, ma'am. SEO. Now, I had someone sort of get mad at me. They saw this list that y'all, again, if you're just joining us, it's in the link is in my bio if you're on Instagram. And then obviously if you're watching here, you see it on the screen. But they were looking through the task list and they saw SEO, and she sent me kind of a snarky email. And she was just like, I really am offended that you said people can do SEO. I do SEO, and it's not like some VA can do that. Well, what do you think a VA is? Do you think a VA is a VA is a human being with a brain, right? Like, so a VA is completely capable of doing SEO. So yes, there's very, very, very sophisticated, specialized SEO. And then there's the basic SEO that most of us need, right? Making sure that all of our pictures in our computer that we're going to use in our marketing have keywords in them, and making sure that, well, there's a million things that go into SEO. And of course, I'm completely blanking on all of them. And I'm not an SEO expert, but there is just like there's basic SEO that your VAs can do to keep you coming up in search. Sorry. And then by the way, anything they can do basically, they can also become a specialist. So I would say I have a team of specialists that were not always specialists on all the things they're specialists in now. Okay. So like I have a virtual assistant who I would say is a specialist in Pinterest. She did not know diddly squat about Pinterest when she started. I purchased an inexpensive course that I got some recommendations, like, is there a program? I asked her, do you want to learn Pinterest and be in charge of that for our business? She's like, yeah, that sounds really awesome. She learned it. Hey, Ben, so good to see you. We're talking about things that you can hand off to a virtual assistant in your business. So now she's in charge of the Pinterest. I didn't have to learn it, but I don't have time to learn it. But now she's a specialist. Kajabi, that's a platform we use to run our entire business. There's definitely a learning curve there. Nika, my head VA, she learned it. I taught what little bit I knew about it at the time. She learned it, and then now she is absolutely a specialist. She teaches other people. And I need to make a note to myself about that, leveraging. Remind me if I don't forget, we're getting ready to move on to the revenue producing tasks. And I want to mention leveraging your VA's like skills. So remind me, I wrote a note, and Nika, you hear me, so remind me if I forget. Okay. What else? Oh, staying on top of Google Analytics. That's really important, because if you're in business and you're doing stuff online and you're marketing and you've got a web page, you need to know where is the referral traffic coming from. So in other words, like if you're doing what I'm doing right now, is it doing any good? I mean, yeah, you could see a direct conversion or something, right? Like somebody hears what you're saying and they buy or they download or whatever. But don't you want to see a bigger, better picture to inform you? That's what Google Analytics and Google My Business is for. But again, do you have time to learn it? Do you have time to stay on top of it? That just becomes a system in your business. It's also not complicated, but it's so great. So when we have our weekly team meetings, my VA, once a month, we do once a month and weekly. So weekly, we look at all of our social stats. So what we want to see is like what posts did well, what of our content, where did the engagement come from? What are people into right now, right? And so we do that weekly on our team meetings. And then monthly, we want to look at the Google Analytics and weekly, we also look at YouTube, which I'll lump that in with social media. But then monthly, we want to look at our website and our Google Analytics to see where's the traffic coming from and what website are they landing on, right? Like, and it's so amazing the things that you could see with Google Analytics. Like you could just go so deep. I don't need to go that deep. I just want to see like some certain metrics that are telling me you're on the right track or you better shift course. So they do that, right? I don't have to do that. What else? Setting up your membership site and completely managing your membership site. setting up an e-commerce store, checking all your links on a regular basis, right? Like this is good hygiene. So monthly there should be a systems check where or a website check, a link check where your VAs are going through and they're checking your lead magnets, they're checking your funnels, making sure that your links and stuff work. Because I mean, how much business is lost? We found a doozy the other day in our business. And thank goodness, I mean, we definitely lost money, but thank goodness we caught it because we were doing that hygiene, right? And we realized that when someone clicked a button, they were going to a waiting list, and we did not want them going to a waiting list, right? So how many people waited on that, got on the waiting list that should have like and would have been happy to purchase, but we sent them to a waiting list. So that was a biggie. All sorts of reports, creating and managing spreadsheets. And all the emails that come in for customer service, your VA can do that for you. Now I want to get to the my favorite part, which is the revenue producing tasks. I call these PRDs, or perpetual revenue driving tasks. Okay, these are tasks that actually, if not a direct correlation to bringing in money, like a very strong, it's very strongly connected to an actual monetary transaction. Okay, so let's talk about this. So first, I want to talk about the one that I didn't want to forget first, because I'll forget it otherwise, and that is leveraging your team to create more value in your offer. Okay, so think about it. So if you're a coach and you have a virtual assistant that is, so if you're just a business coach in general and you're doing it online, I guarantee you that at some point you have to tell your client, you have to advise your client that they need something, right? Like they need a web page, they need a lead magnet, they need all the things that you need to do to build an audience online and to build a business online. And but you, the coach, do not have time to do all that for them and show them how to do that. But you know what you do have? You have a VA. You have a VA that can do that for them. And to be able to put in your offer, when you work with me, you also are going to work with a team that is going to do XYZ for you. Okay. Let's talk about affiliate income. If you're an affiliate for any person or brand, so I'm going to use Kajabi as an example. So that's, again, I'm an affiliate. That's where I love it so much. That's why I am an affiliate and why I share it with people and I recommend it to people. And if they purchase through my link, then I get a commission. And so why would they want to buy from my link, from me versus someone else? Well, what I can promise is that if they buy from me, my team is going to have 2 calls with them to get them set up and ready to make money in Kajabi. I don't have to do it. They do that. And so that is huge value. So people will purchase just because of that. And in all my programs, whatever it is, whether it's my group coaching program or one-to-one coaching or online program that I have, I can, on some level, they're going to add value. So it is, that's just a direct correlation to leveraging your virtual assistant to making more money. Okay. Another thing is, okay, so, and I'll talk about this in the podcast next week. Okay. It's coming up on Tuesday. I've got a new podcast that'll be published, but basically, if you run Facebook ads or if you don't, okay, first let's talk about Facebook ads. Facebook ads are, whether you love Facebook or hate it, there is just no doubt about the fact that Facebook ads work and they help you grow your business quickly. Okay. But not everybody wants to use Facebook ads, and not everybody can, or is at a point right now where they can use Facebook ads right now with any real results. Like you don't have a robust budget to put behind your Facebook ads. Well, the next best way to grow your audience organically is online and, social media. But is it actually, if you start looking at your statistics, you're probably not getting as much traffic from social media and stuff, unless like you are a huge TikToker right now, or you're doing short form video, you're probably not getting a huge amount of business directly from social media. And believe me, I'm a social media strategist. I love social media, but I'm just saying that because it's true. So one of the best ways to do it is to build your audience by getting in front of what? Hi, Becky. We're talking about things to hand off to your virtual assistant, like tasks you can hand to your virtual assistant. And okay, I'm going to wait 2 seconds. There's a little bit of a delay over here I'm talking to two audiences, so that's why I'm shifting back and forth. But what is the best way to get in front of, what is the next best way to get to build your audience is to get in front of someone else's audience, someone else who has a huge audience that is your audience. And what is one of the best ways to do that? It's to be on their podcast, okay? Or their webinar or their live stream, whatever, on their blog. But you want to get in front of someone else's audience. That is a surefire way. I mean, look at people, okay, Amy Porterfield. I didn't know this, and I've been following Amy Porterfield for a long time. She would have done well no matter what, but she exploded, and so did James Wedmore. They both apparently appeared on Lewis Howes's webinar. Lewis Howes featured them on his webinar. Explosion. Both of them exploded through the stratosphere. It's like the Oprah effect, kind of, but on a smaller scale for the rest of us. Okay. So, but how do you get on the podcast? Well, your VA becomes your booking agent. And again, this is all about having a good system in place. Your VA is not picking up the phone and calling them or even emailing them. Well, they are going to be emailing them, but they're not pretending to be you. Okay. Your VA is your VA. And again, you got to have the system for this. So you want to have a roadmap for your VA to follow. So a template, basically, like of who. First, they have to do the research, and that's going to be based on the criteria that you give them. And then the second thing is the outreach, like, what is the pitch going to be? And then, of course, following up, and then just keeping a spreadsheet and a log of like who was contacted and which podcast you appeared on. So that is a fantastic way to use a virtual assistant to create revenue in your business, like right from jump. Okay. And then that same thing goes for like if you're a blogger, getting backlinked in somebody else's blog, or being a guest blogger on someone else's blog, or answering those help a reporter out inquiries. Same thing, same idea. Another one is along the same lines is having your VA do research for you for outreach in general. Okay. And I love this idea. It wasn't my idea. I heard this on a podcast or a webinar or something, but have just started implementing it, and it is fantastic. Okay. So I don't know about you, but I am a little lazy with the outreach. Like when it comes to like reaching out to people for a joint venture opportunity, or, you say it in your head. You're like, I ought to reach out to so-and-so and we ought to do a webinar together, or we ought to bundle some products together and do like a flash sale or something, or we should do a live event together, whatever. You think about that, but then it sort of falls by the wayside because you're getting hit with the invoicing and the proposals and the things you have to write and doing your social media and all of that. So you don't have time to do it. So your VA, based on the criteria that you give to your VA, can do the research and identify like 3 podcasts for you to be on. Hey, Isabel, welcome. We're talking about tasks to give to your virtual assistant. Which podcast to reach out to, which blogs to reach out to, which influencers to reach out to, which speaking gigs to reach out to, and just people to reach out to in general. Teresa, welcome. We're talking about things that you can give to a virtual assistant, tasks to hand off to a virtual assistant, and we're wrapping up in just a moment. And then back to the asset thing, like. That's no small thing, having a virtual assistant for you to take someone else's workbook. So let's say you might be a coach, but there's there's a dog trainer that you find online, and you download the dog trainer's workbook. So completely different industry. So I'm not advising that we copy people, but you love the aesthetic of that workbook. Now you have something to hand to your VA and say, you know what? I love this workbook. So based on the training that I just did, can you create a workbook and a checklist that looks similar to this in the aesthetic? Now you have this valuable lead magnet that can grow your list. And it just goes on and on and on. I'll tell you one more thing. So this is the last thing I'm going to tell you that just popped into my head. So my virtual assistant, Nika, came up with the best idea. So we have a program that teaches people how to hire and train a virtual assistant. And we include in that a program for the VA so that we train the VA as well. Okay. So they get their own little course. So once the person hires the VA, they get this special course for the VA. And Nika said, what if we did support calls for the VAs, but I hosted them, I and a couple other members of our team. So we would host support calls, live support calls, just for the virtual assistants. That is so awesome. So we did that and we offered it as a bonus. Oh my gosh, so many people love that, because imagine if you hire a VA and then you have someone else train them and answer their questions on a regular basis and help, develop them as the VAs that these students, that these people are hoping that they have, the kind of VA that's going to stay with them for years and not, years, not just like weeks. So that's it. And unfortunately, I don't know who this is, but you said I didn't even know you had a podcast until this week. I have so much to catch up on. Yeah, well, you know what? That's my fault. I have an everyday flash briefing. So if you go to your Amazon Lexi, Alexa, actually go to the app or go to Amazon and search under skills and look for the Front Row Entrepreneur and subscribe to it. And every single morning when you ask your Lexi or your Google Home device for your latest news, it will play like 2 or 3 minutes of me giving you the latest news in social media and online marketing and tech and all that stuff. Super short. And then my podcast is the same name, The Front Row. So that the daily one, the news, I am so good about that. I never miss a day. The podcast has been a struggle for me. I know I need to batch, and that is what I am currently struggling with and what I want to really nail down, because it just makes so much sense to. And by the way, the team is like, they're I have this amazing team. We have this amazing system, and they're just waiting, they're just waiting for those podcasts. And I just have to make it a point to buckle down and do like 4 at a time. I don't know why I find that so hard. I just do 1 at a time, but I'm going to get it. Okay. And all right. So if we don't have any other questions, this went way longer than I anticipated. I thought it was just going to be like 10 minutes. So Teresa Heath Waring, who is over here on Instagram, who has a fantastic podcast, just said, I am a podcast batching queen. And she is the queen, and her podcast is so, so good. I'm going to get there. You've inspired me, Teresa. Okay. So I'm going to do, we're going to be doing, really and truly, I wanted this to just be like 10 or 15 minutes because I don't want to overwhelm people. And I know you're busy. So I'm going to be talking about, we've got all sorts of like little micro topics that I want to talk about, like why, yes, I know. So Isabel says you should talk to Tracy Otsuka for some inspiration. Also a great podcast about ADHD, who is a friend of mine and batches so well. They're all better than me. But little micro topics like, should you hire a virtual assistant or should you go through an agency? And I like, spoiler alert, like, do not do the agency. Okay. Don't do the agency. Unless it is just like a project-based. Agency, fine. Otherwise not. So hi, Nicole, we're just signing off. We're talking about tasks to give to your VA. And the link in the bio will take you to 160 plus tasks that you can give to your virtual assistant. Okay. So if no questions or comments, I'm going to sign off and just, I'm not going to be doing this every day, but a couple days a week, I want to come in and talk about these little micro topics about hiring a virtual assistant. And, look up in the top right-hand corner of the screen. And for you all live on Instagram, if you go to ceosecretstraining.com, We have a live workshop. It's a 3-day workshop. Really, it's more like 5 days because there's 3 days of like training, but we'll fill up the other days with a lot of fun stuff and giveaways and yada yada. That's going to start August the 15th, and we opened up a discussion group for that as well. So join us over there. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Oh, it's a weekend, and have a great weekend. And thanks for joining me. Bye. All right, how do I get out of Facebook Live? I mean, Instagram Live. There we go. Okay, and now I will end here too. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much.